Hey everybody, Matt Kloskowski here to show you some brand new features inside of Photoshop. One of them is a huge one. This is in Camera Raw. We actually have cloning and healing in Camera Raw. Real cloning and healing with a brush. All right, now take a look here. I'll show you. I'm going to zoom in. What we had before this latest version was if I had spots, I could use the spot removal tool to go in here and just click on those spots and they'd be gone. So that worked easy enough. But if it wasn't a spot that you wanted to get rid of, you had to go into Photoshop and use the actual cloning and healing brush. But now with the new features that we have here inside of Camera Raw, so on the raw photo, totally non-destructive, I can go down here. You can see we have like creepy hoodie guy down here in the corner. All right, I'll zoom in. I'm going to take a brush and I'm just going to paint. Rather than just click and have a perfect circle, I can now paint a non-circular area and it'll find another area to choose from. If I want to tweak it at all I got to do is just move it around and Camera Raw goes in there and fixes it right on the raw photo. It's probably like one of the biggest features I've ever seen to hit Camera Raw in a really long time. Here's another example here. This happens all the time. We have telephone wires. All right, and there's a few of them floating around the image here, so I'll just go ahead down here right at the bottom there. I'll just go and I'll paint right along the sky. See, telephone wire's gone. Click and drag right along here, and you see it goes through and it finds a whole different area inside the photo and just fixes exactly what you're painting over. So big feature inside of Camera Raw. Another one that we have here, and this is another one of those features that I think post-crop vignetting, which was added a few versions ago back in Camera Raw, was really good, right? We could go over here to our effects panel, and I could go and I could add a little bit of a vignette. The problem I always had with this was it assumes your subject is right in the center of the photo, all right? And call me crazy, but as photographers, sometimes we don't put our subject right in the middle of the photo. Sometimes our subject's off to a corner. And the post-crop vignetting didn't really work well for that because it would darken that. But you can go over here to your radial filter, and it works just like the adjustment brush and the graduated filter, okay? Exactly the same. All you gotta do is adjust whatever you wanna change here. So I want to adjust exposure, and then I click and I drag, and it basically puts a spotlight. You could almost call it the spotlight filter because that's exactly what it does. It puts a spotlight on whatever you want to draw attention to in the photo. And you can make it perfectly circular if you want to. In this example here, maybe I'll make it more of an oval shape. You can rotate it around a little bit. The further you spread it out, the further the effect spreads out, okay? And then you can come over here when you're done, and it's all non-destructive, so I can come over here. That's before, but I'll darken it, and I'll show you the overlay here. So we can see, if we look at the preview, that's before, that's after. Again, before and after, and you can even hide the overlay if it kind of gets in the way of you seeing the rest of the photo here. You can see the before and after. So that works great to really just put some emphasis on whatever you want to inside your photo. All right, one last example here. This is another great feature inside of Camera Raw, which is, they call it upright. It's basically perspective correction. Okay, we had some lens corrections that we could do inside of Camera Raw. The problem is a lot of it was manual. Okay, if you look at this photo here, this happens a lot. We're shooting wide angle. If you're downtown, you have a lot of tall buildings. Those tall buildings tend to lean over and you get a lot of vertical perspective problems. Well, if you go over to your lens corrections panel, and then you go over to your manual tab here, you're gonna see this whole upright section at the top. So honestly, most of the time, auto does just fine. So watch, these buildings are all leaning over. I'm just gonna hit auto, and you're gonna go in there and it's gonna straighten the building so vertically they're straight. All right, and then at this point, we just need to either go in here with the crop tool and manually crop it out, or come over here and you can just add a little bit of scale to the image and that'll crop out that excess area there. And by the way, a little tip for you here, there's a little grid down here that we can now come in here and change it, because we had a grid before, but that grid, the lines were never where you wanted them. But now with the grid option, you can go in there and you can change those lines. So if you ever are aligning something and the grid doesn't help you, you can change the width of it so that it'll help you get it perfect. All right, that's some great new features inside of the brand new version of Camera Raw. If you want to see all the other new features, make sure you check out the other videos.